Hello everybody, my name is Steve and I'm joined this week by the leopard plant and bird enthusiast Maxine. Welcome.
Thanks, Steve. It's so good to be here.
Fantastic, it's nice to have you on board. This week's show promises to delight as we reveal the first impala lamb. We look at some new baby wildebeest once more. We'll possibly show you a bird that you have not seen before. We're going to delve into some interesting jackal dynamics. We're going to also look further into the dynamics of our hyena clans here on Djuma and the arms race between leopard and warthog. But first of all, let's go have a look at our first baby impala.
Hello, everyone. Look what we found. Our first impala lamb on Djuma. I think so, yes. I don't think it's been seen. I'm going to pull forward. Look at that! Yay! As we left the car hut, I was like, oh, there's an impala baby. The first one has dropped on Djuma. Now they're just going to be everywhere. And you can see the one mom has had a baby. The second one hasn't yet. Hopefully we'll get another view. But they are so cute. Their little faces. Oh my goodness. There we go. We'll try that. I think they're going to move. So we'll just... Oh, look at it. Go, little one. Probably born in the last maybe 24 to 48 hours. It's not very, very stumbly. It is moving quite nicely there along with mom. There we go. Look at that little face. No one guessed today. I went with my lucky number 12. No one said the 17th of November for Djuma, so no one wins the prize, which is the prize of being right.
Well, Amy was very excited to have found the first impala lamb on the 17th of November. Max, is this early? Is this late?
I don't think so. I think it's almost spot on time. I remember when I was working in the Sabi Sands years ago, we always used to see them around the 15th. We always had bets on about the 15th of November. So I think 15th, 17th, it's all good.
Okay, I had 20th in. I felt like there wasn't really much of a season of rainfall. The vegetation is a bit poor, but I lost 17th. But anyway, what are the factors really that affect the birthing?
Well, it's really interesting because driving around on Djuma, I've noticed some herds that haven't given birth yet. A whole herd, little herds, where all of the females are pregnant, no babies. And then in other places, there are herds where all of the babies have been born. So it can be quite variable, even within a single system.
Yeah.
But I think factors, certainly nutrients would come into play. I believe that soil nutrients translate into nutrients in the vegetation, and if the nutrients are poor, it could cause slower fetal development. So
100% fetal development. I believe that as well, that it's probably the nutrients. So what's your thoughts about this myth or this theory of impala ewes being able to withhold their lambing?
I think it's an old wives' tale. I really don't believe it. And I'm chatting to many guides recently. I think there are not many guides that still believe that myth. Sadly, it is often
But
still...
why do you think? Why do you think it's a myth?
Well, you know, the timing can look like it's variable, and in some places you might find impalas give birth earlier than in other places. I don't think that's got anything to do with withholding. I think it could be just again to do with soil nutrients. Look at the Timavati.
They're at risk, right? During that whole process.
They are at risk. They are at risk. They are slower. They're heavier. And so they do not want to hold those lambs for longer than they need to.
I mean, the last month, the 3 or 4 impala ewes I've seen that have been caught by a leopard have all had a fetus inside of them.
Exactly. So it really doesn't make sense as a female impala to keep your baby for a little bit longer. You want to get it out there.
Yeah.
Your survival is as important, or if not more important, as than your baby's.
So the Manuleti, we saw lambs dropping weeks before here. But Simavati, apparently there hasn't even been a ewe dropped yet.
Exactly. No sign of any babies there, the last I heard. But the soils are much more nutrient poor there, so
Yeah.
that would support
100,
the theory that it's nutrients.
100%. So the nutrients, and they want to drop them all at the same time, right? The synchronization.
Oh, definitely. There's a huge advantage to having lots and lots and lots of little babies running around.
So everybody, for new life to come forth, sadly, there has to be a death.
We've came across this literally on the side of the road. I suspect there's a nice tree here where I suspect this is where the fight went down. But you can see there's some, there's some of the feathers. Very, very pretty. Very, very pretty. You can see the stripes going down there. But you can also see this lovely, lovely sort of tawny color. This is consistent with something like an owl. And this is a barn owl. Unfortunately, this barn owl, I think, was just bullied by too many birds. It happens. The owls are not favorites of the birds, and obviously the ants are around it, the flies are around it. A little bit of a smell, but you know, majority of what needed to be eaten from here has already been eaten off of it. And then obviously the face in the front there. A sad scene. I happen to love barn owls. They're very, very cool birds. But in the grand scheme of things, owls do get bullied an awful lot by birds. I've seen dead owls on the road, but I haven't seen dead owls that have been eaten and consumed by other birds. But we can also use this time to actually look at the owls, you know. Rather scary looking thing. These are 4 of the longest talons I've seen on any bird. Mind you, this is the first time I've been so close up to a bird of prey that's still kind of somewhat intact. And the feathers are so soft. So soft, and this is obviously just to allow smooth gliding through the air, not making a single noise. But yeah, how cool and fascinating. And obviously they've got a very big beak. So I wouldn't say he's been dead for so long, because I'm able to move the head. Normally rigor mortis kicks in and the head is just not, it stiffens up. Not too sure who would have done this. I think the bird of prey could have possibly finished it off. Shame, man. What happened to you?
Well, fascinating to get up close and personal with the barn owl like that, but obviously always quite sad. Max, what do you think killed that bird?
Well, the most common causes of deaths of owls is often rodenticide poisoning and then roadkill. So I'm not sure where it was on the reserve, but if it was close to a road, I would suspect roadkill. It didn't seem to have any obvious talon marks or injuries on it.
I think I can concur with you on that. It's possibly the most easy way to explain. But, I mean, something interesting about the owl's feet.
Yeah, it's really quite fascinating when an owl lands on the ground to go and have a look at the tracks, and they leave a very distinctive K-shaped track. So it's one of the ways of knowing for sure that you have seen an owl track. And it's not common to find an owl track.
It's not at all. It's not common to find a small bird as well, known as a yellow-bellied eremomola either.
The name of it is a good one because it's actually named after the color on its belly. So this is a yellow-bellied, and this is where the word gets confusing, eremomola. Don't ask me to spell that. But anyways, it might be a new one for some of you. It's not a bird that we get to see very often, nor do they ever sit still. Seeing the nests of them at all, but they must be tiny little cup nests. And they also disguise them and decorate them with spider webs, which would make it even more difficult. I mean, that's a tiny bird. So it'll be tiny little eggs too. I think I've driven past hundreds of them in my entire life. But it's also one of the birds within Africa that has an enormous distribution. I mean, they cover most parts of southern Africa. There's a small population, if I remember, in the Eastern Cape. I think I remember seeing them at Kariga once or twice. And they even go all the way up to Sudan. and east of that. So it's quite spectacular. You know, obviously some of you might go, that doesn't look like it in my book, because on some of them you can't see the white eyebrow or the supercilium. It's not as prominent, and also that little mask that they have, it doesn't always show up as well. But it is one, I promise. Like most birds at this time of the year, if there's nectar available to feed on, then they will. So having a small little tongue like that would actually be quite beneficial to some of the flowers. Sitting in a white berry bush at the moment. I think it's hoping that if it stays on it, it's going to develop fruits quicker. That's not the case, sorry bird, to burst your bubble. Most of the white berry bushes are quite far away from producing fruit.
Now, that was an utterly fantastic shot of a yellow-bellied Eremomele. I don't think it gets much better than that, Max.
No, they're such gorgeous little birds and not often seen.
Have you seen one before here?
I have seen in the Sabi Sands, not at Djuma.
Yes.
No.
And why don't we get them here then?
So I think it could have to do with the acacia woodland. Up in the Munyawana in KZN, where we have a lot of Acacia nilotica, we tend to see them a little bit more regularly. And I was reading a study the other day that said that even in acacia woodland up in Zimbabwe, there was only one pair per 50 hectares.
So very, very different locations and habitats. No acacias here, and we're going to take a short break.
Okay, not again. No. Whoa. I know, but where am I supposed to go? Oh my goodness. This booty. He's, we can see that he's in a bit of a mood. Look what he's done to me. Look at this. Look at my face. I'm covered in mud here. Like, I know I wanted the spa treatment, but this is not what this is. I didn't sign up for this. There's mud everywhere, on the camera, all over the seats, all over the whole car. It's covered in mud.
Hello everyone, my name is Steve and we're focusing on a little bit of flora here again in Amakhala in Eastern Cape. And right here we've got a plant known as mpepu, a very common plant out here. This one specifically is called the golden carpet, or Helichrysum cimosum is the species name. There's about 240 species of what the local indigenous tribes will call mpepu. There's many, the Helichrysum species in southern Africa, and heli for the helios in following the sun, and then in chrysis in golden. So Helichrysum meaning all of the yellowish golden flowers that follow the sun. That's where the name comes from. And as with most of these species, they're all very, very good for the chest. They all have antibacterial, antimicrobial properties. And this species as well can be burnt and inhaled, the old dry leaves. They got a little bit of a smell to them, and they can be very good for cleansing the throat, for the chest, for asthma. With the antibacterial and antimicrobial properties, it's very useful in the dressing of wounds. So a healing plant, one of the many healing plants we find down here in the Eastern Cape, and one of 240 species of Helichrysum. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Flora Focus. Well, what a very special plant, and so much medicine. There are so many wonderful medicinal plants around South Africa, and the Eastern Cape spend so much time with many of the Helichrysum species and so many other plants. But here in Djuma, we spend lots of time with hyenas.
The spotted hyena, thanks to that biological travesty, the Lion King, is one of the most misunderstood, underappreciated animals in Africa. This heavy-shouldered, sunken-backed, scarred carnivore is anything but a gormless, giggling twit. Rather, they are highly intelligent, social, skilled, and complex animals. Their diet consists of just about anything made of meat, including carrion, insects, human waste, and they will even resort to cannibalism. Sometimes, a delicious fruit or two slips in. Spotted hyenas have been much maligned for their scavenging ways. Ironic given the apparently noble male lion's propensity for the same. And who is to say there is anything wrong with scavenging? Hyenas find carcasses using their incredible sense of smell. They can detect the scent of decay from great distances. And their powerful jaws and teeth allow them to tear flesh and crush bones with ease. Hyenas can extract every last nutrient from a carcass. They'll feed on the flesh, organs, bones, marrow, and even skin. The only thing they can't digest is hair. Strong stomach acids and an efficient digestive system allow spotted hyenas to digest more of a carcass than other large carnivores. This adaptability is crucial in environments where food can be scarce. Spotted hyenas play a vital role in their ecosystems as both predators and scavengers. By disposing of carcasses, they help prevent the spread of disease and maintain a healthy environment for other animals. The foraging practices of the spotted hyena exemplify their remarkable adaptability and intelligence. Even cursory observation of spotted hyenas will lead to the inescapable conclusion that they are far from gormless thieving twits. These are complex, fascinating, resourceful animals, deserving of immense respect.
Well, they are truly a remarkable and fascinating species, and we've been battling a long time to change people's perspectives of the hyena. I mean, Max, what's your thoughts on that? What people think, or the Lion King, I think, had quite a big impact on what people think.
Very negative impact. But I think WildEarth has done an incredible job at just focusing on the characters and just putting a little bit more understanding out there of hyenas and how incredibly interesting they are.
Yeah, ignorance, right?
Yes.
We
Ignorance.
educate, we show people the way, and then understanding comes forth.
Yeah, and education brings conservation as well.
Now, is there a particular hyena sighting of yours, a favorite special that you can recall?
Gosh, I always love watching them at a den. So any den sightings where the little ones are running around for me are very, very special.
Yeah.
I loved seeing Ribbon and Corky's cubs that my last stint here. That was very, very special, having wanted to see those specific characters for a long time. So that stands out as being very special for me.
I was in the Mara and I saw Pride there, the Owino Pride, take down a wildebeest, and then 50, maybe 60 hyenas came From a distance, you just saw the eyes in the long grass, and those lions just retreated. We don't see a lot of that here.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience in the Ngorongoro crater
Yes.
with these massive clans.
Remarkable stuff to see.
Unbelievable.
And the noise.
Yes.
The noise. Now, Max, most unusual thing about a hyena that you could maybe think of?
I think I have to say the sexual organs and how the females look like males. It is there's not very many mammals. In fact, I can't think of another one. Maybe there is that I'm just drawing a blank on where that happens. So that is a very unusual adaptation.
It's true. And then the pasting is always entertaining to witness, right?
Yes, I love seeing them paste. Brown hyenas as well do it. It's fascinating to see.
Well, hyenas are a fascinating creature. They have their babies in holes in the ground, but many of the birds we know build intricate little nests for their babies. Okay, so the nest itself is incredibly camouflaged to blend in and to hide the little eggs inside. And there's some movement in the tree. Might be the female on her way back. We'll have a look. And she's going to land on there again shortly. There we go. Oh, how special is this? Oh, mama. Now, while she was away, I went and had a quick little look just to see. And there were 2 beautiful little eggs inside. Nice and snug, and only the female chinspot batis will do the brooding, laying between 1 and 4 eggs. They are pale green or blue-green, spotted and blotched with blackish brown and grey markings. And discussing it this morning, they'll only start incubation once the clutch is complete. So she's incubating now, she's sitting, she's on them, which means she's only going to have 2 chicks. Well, that was such a special find. We've been so blessed to spend time with that batis, and we're looking forward to many more hours. Now, Max, you haven't yet seen the nest. Are you looking forward to finding it?
Oh, I can't wait. I'm definitely going to go and have a look. It's beautiful from what I've seen.
But why such an elaborate nest?
Well, I think that it definitely has to do with keeping the eggs safe. That cup-shaped structure is perfect to keep those eggs contained so that they don't fall out. So that's one thing. But then the incredible concealment, the lichen, the bark, is all about camouflage. That little batis wants to keep classes cuckoos away that parasitize and any potential predators. And it is perfect camouflage. It blends into that branch.
It does.
Incredibly well.
Concealment is the best form of defense. But is there any sexual selective function in nest building? Or do you think it's just about happy baby?
I think definitely. I mean, if you look at weavers and how the female discards nest after nest from the male, that doesn't happen with the batis, but still they both, the male and the female, build the nest together, and I'm sure the female chooses a male that can do that
So
well.
definitely evidence in nest selection function. And on that note, we're going to take a short break.
Emhlabeni uthathuthuma uthatshiwa ingwe nathingala.
This is one of the Kambula males. He's got a very bad puncture wound on his back, right leg. His right ear is a bit floppy and he's got a few bite marks. Could be claw marks on the right of his face as well. Shame. He's got a very bad puncture wound there. Very likely from the Matli males. Matli. This is what happens, everybody. Being a lion out here comes with its challenges, comes with its difficulties. Ow. Look at that. That is a bite. That is 4 punctures. Oh. It could affect him very negatively. Oh yeah. He's in trouble. The muscles on that leg are complete, or the tendons are completely broken. Kimberly Lopez confirms A4.
Shamshatika emsaveni utatsutsuma utajiwa ingwe natingala.
John, I think the fur will darken. The fur darkens with age. Why they're born completely different in color, that's hard to say. I mean, I think that the hardening of the fur or the darkening of the fur is a response to the sun. I mean, the baby impala, when they're born, they look identical to the adults, but the wildebeest don't. Why? I don't know exactly why. But it does change within the first 6 months. They'll look very different. There might be an element of camouflage to it. An element of camouflage. Oh, look at the one on the right. It's brand new. Panda, look at that. Oh. Mama, I am brand new. See, it's actually still got some evidence of being wet around the neck. That's tiny. Look at those legs. Oops, way too much effort. So I suppose there is an element in the open grasslands when they lie down like that of them being a little bit more camouflaged than if they were dark. Well, we certainly do love kids' questions, and I probably wasn't able to answer that question correctly. So Max, we've got, ideas about this. Baby antelope mimicking or looking the same as the mother. We've got lots of them that don't look the same.
Absolutely, and the most obvious one would be the wildebeest in this ecosystem. But if you go to places like Amakala and you look at the red hartebeest, they also look very different. Blesbuck, Bontebok, there are many antelope species that look different to their mothers.
So what can we correlate that with then, do you think?
I would say habitat. The grassland species, those species that are adapted to living in very open areas with not many bushes around for concealment, they need their young to look like the grass.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that in Amakala. I'd look at the red hartebeest herd I knew had babies, and only when they moved did I see, there's some babies there. So they almost look like the termite mounds there.
That's a great comparison. I hadn't thought of that before, but termite mounds, definitely.
They're just little patches of sand in the middle of the grassland. Okay, so we've got the open grassland species, but now here in Djuma we've got a number of species that look the same.
Yes, and those are generally species that are found in the more thicket type environment. So in the riverine thickets, things like Nyala, things like kudu, they look very, very similar to their parents. They don't need the grass type camouflage.
It almost correlates with the horns as well. The adults, females have horns, the babies are discolored. The adult females don't have horns, the babies are the same.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but that makes sense.
That just came to me.
Yeah.
Well, when you are a young animal and you are trying to hide away from predators, concealment is the first prize, because when lions are out on the prowl, they're looking for the easiest prey they can possibly find. And if you're not able to hide in the long grass or the thickets, you're going to be a meal to a big cat.
Oh my goodness, that gave me the fright. Not the fright of my life. It was just out of nowhere this lady came running up. Very cool. They were down here by the water hole, having a little drink of some water. And just enjoying themselves. Oh, it's nice. They obviously, like I said, there are a lot of other vehicles here that are wanting to join us in this beautiful sighting. Little drink of some water. Is that a stick you wanting to grab there? What's your plan with that? Yeah, grab it. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Now she has to share it. You guys are absolute clowns this morning. Well, absolutely glorious, glorious sighting. Come here, come here. That's Mom over there. That's the Patsy. Okay, guinea fowl. Okay, yes, we understand. You're not happy. The lions are here, but we've all heard you. See how they start making a lot of noise as soon as there's a little bit of running from the lions or anything where they could potentially be in danger.
Now, it never gets old watching lionesses play, and down in Amakhala, those lionesses surely are a lot of fun. Now, Max, in the Eastern Cape, historical records, distribution of lions, I think you've got some ancestors from that time.
I do. My ancestors came across on those first ships in 1820 and settled in Bathurst, which isn't that far from Amakhala. And if you read a lot of their historical notes, lions were a big problem. It wasn't just the frontier, where they were battling in those frontier wars, but lions were a big problem on the farms there. There's a lot of historical notes on that.
So I suppose you've got record or evidence of being this British sailor or this family coming from Europe,
completely unprepared, yes.
Landing in the Eastern Cape, off of a boat, getting off with your belongings, going to a place that has been allocated as your farm,
yes,
and having to deal with lions.
With lions, yeah, terrifying. And a lot of those farmers just deserted their farms. They just weren't prepared for that. Came into town and started trading because the lions were having a huge impact.
You just think you'll be successful in farming some sheep or some cattle in the frontiers, and
yes.
Up comes the apex predator, the African lion.
Yeah, pretty scary.
Now, lions obviously we know quite well adapted, but down in the Eastern Cape, how well suited are they to that habitat?
They were very widely distributed, so they were shot out quite early for these exact reasons that we've been talking about, but they were all over the Eastern Cape, possibly not in the forests, but otherwise very widespread.
Well, lions are in their natural habitat in Amakhala, and we're just going to take you on a short break.
There is a predator-prey relationship that on first appearance should have an obvious outcome. The humble pig always falling to the prince of cats. But it is not quite so simple, for this pig is no ordinary porker. That said, for some leopards, the bacon temptation is enormous. A warthog is blessed with some formidable weapons. The top tusks are the least of these. The bottom canines protrude under the tusks and have a razor's edge from occluding against the top tusks. They are also a lot more massive than they look. A large boar can weigh more than double a leopardess. However, the first options are always to run or hide. Warthogs are very fast and make use of termite mound burrows to escape. It is here that a leopard's patience pays off. If he can outwait a hungry pig inside the safety of a mound, an ambush from above can bear enormous rewards. As is always the case, The youngest are the most vulnerable and are easily caught. This ancient tussle will continue, but let's pay tribute to the combatants. The patient, powerful, risk-taking prince of cats, and the surprisingly strong, courageous, and indomitable warthog.
Utatsutsuma utajiwa ingwe natingala.
Hello? Hi. And this wonderful big black monkey thorn. We were following some impalas that were looking rather pregnant, and we heard a woodland calling, and we thought, well, let's go find it. And then I saw it fly into the tree. We asked for a quick link because, you know, the first time you see one of these, it's very important. And now, from this moment onward, they are going to drive us crazy. They are the first and the loudest in the morning. And they go on and on and on. And they've been pretty quiet up until now. They're all just arriving, establishing territories, male and females pairing off. Declare territories with food resource and with a breeding site. They use a woodpecker burrow, woodpecker hole in the tree.
Tika emsaveni utatsutsuma utajiwa ingwe natingala.
Well, we found them again. We found them again. There we go. You two have been walking far. Thank you for finally stopping. We were about to give up and come out. And then we heard the Franklin. Really be magic moments with these two gorgeous ones. Look how big your feet are. Such big feet. Well, what a very special sighting that was, spending time with the Queen and her daughter. I know Panda was blown away because he hasn't seen her in some time. But we're going to send you over to the Waterberg with John on a virtual safari.
How great a way to start our morning with this phenomenal sunrise. Welcome back to Welgevonden, everybody. My name is John, and behind the camera we have Gerrit, and this is another episode of Safari Spotlight. We are going to be heading into the central parts of the reserve today because we've got some wind of some lion. So let's go see if we can find them. Thank you Ngubani, Sadiba and Makweti, our partnership lodges, for making these Safari Spotlights possible. Well, everybody, the radios are alive after our sunrise stop this morning, and news has come through that the Western Pride youngsters are active here in the central parts of the reserve. Now, it's two females, so two lionesses, and the young male, Laletsu. And they're separate from one another, but it would seem that the two females have made a kill. And Laletsu has been hanging around one of the dams, rhino dams specifically. So we're going to see if we can catch up with any one of these two sightings and hopefully see what these three lions are getting up to this morning. Well, everybody, here he is, and how good is it to catch up with Laletsu again. Now, of course, like I said, he and his two siblings, his two sisters, have moved back into the central parts of the reserve, and they spend quite a lot of time in the east with that predator boma and the new male that's been brought in. But obviously they have become very hungry over the past couple of days. In fact, we haven't seen Laletsu eat in probably about a week, or just over a week. So naturally he's been driven to move away from that predator boma where the new male is being kept, his new best friend, so to say. And he has come in search of food, and his sisters have made a kill, and he's probably busy making his way to them. Although at this point in time, it looks like he's trying to catch up on some sleep. So we've left Laletsu, our young male, a lion from the Western Pride, and we've decided to try our luck and catch up with his siblings. And on our way we have stumbled upon the most precious of sightings. Have a look at this. This is Half Moon. She is a adult female white rhino, and just look at her little one. How cute is that? Now, each of the rhinos here at Welgevonden, be they black rhino or white rhino, male or female, all have their own individual names and ways in which they are identified, and that goes by the notches in their ears. So you'll see Half Moon gets her name Half Moon from that very characteristic notch that they've made in the top right hand corner of her right ear. And so when we came upon her, obviously Gerrit and Taylor had previously caught up with Half Moon and her little one, but the first thing we did was try to see who this was. Was it a new rhino we perhaps haven't met here on our safari spotlights, or was it indeed Half Moon? And how great is it to catch up with her? She was one of the very first stars of the safari spotlights here at Welgevonden. We've managed to locate this carcass, which was made by the Western Pride females, and they aren't around, unfortunately. It seems that this carcass was probably from late yesterday afternoon into last night. Most of it is gone, so the lionesses have really made short work of this blue wildebeest carcass, and now they've left it for the jackal. So although they were here this morning on the carcass, they seem to have now moved off. So we'll still try and locate them, but for now we're just taking a moment to have a look at these blackback jackals who are busy doing the ever important job of a cleanup crew. can see there's 2 more jackal that have joined or trying to join, and they also want in on the action. Have a look at this. See, immediately the posture has changed. It's very much an aggressive welcoming that these animals are being given right now by those that are already on this carcass. They don't want them to join in. The food is now limited. Most of it's been consumed. They're really fighting over what is the scraps. Have a look at that. That is unbelievable. Look at them. Teeth flaring, hackles raised. You can see that gorgeous backs, silverback hair of theirs being raised in aggression. All is a sign of intimidation. I don't want you here. Get away. This is my food. What a fantastic morning out here at Walgevonden Private Game Reserve, the heart of the Waterberg. We had an amazing time with Laletsu, and we followed up on a kill made by his 2 sisters as well, where we saw some magnificent interaction between blackback jackals. From Gerrit and I, we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Safari Spotlight, and thank you again to Makweti, Nungabani and Sadiba for making these Spotlight Safaris possible. See you next episode.
Well, John and Gert certainly looked like they had a great time over there in the Waterberg. Max, have you spent any time in the Waterberg itself?
I have, but never at Welgevonden. I'm
Okay.
dying to go there.
But now there's jackal. We've seen, we've heard lots of jackal. They seem to thrive in that environment. Do you have any thoughts?
So different to here, where we hardly see them, and I think it has to do with the top predators and the numbers of them, so that whole balance within the predator hierarchy. And there's fewer lions there, far fewer hyena, and so when you take that pressure off the mesopredators below, something called mesopredator release, you release the pressure, and the mesopredators then can breed and their population can grow.
Okay. Yeah, well, the jackals are fascinating creatures. We'd love to see more of them here in Djuma. But on that note, we're going to send you over to a break. Having a look with my binoculars now at his neck, and it is amazing. You know, I was there when we first removed the snare. He's got that wound there in the crook of his neck. Actually, when we got here and I was looking at what I thought was a female leopard for a moment, there was this little notch in the neck, and I thought, okay, what's that? I can't quite tell. And that's all that's left there of what was a grievous injury that went all the way across his neck, around his neck, across his sternum, cut his chest open completely underneath his shoulder and around. Riley, they are tenacious animals. Yeah, there we go. Thirsty boy.
Tika emsaveni utatsutsuma utachiwa iwe natingala.
Oxpeckers mating, everybody. Definitely love is in the air. Okay. Little bit cloaca touching in the early dawn. I've never seen this before. Now they look shy. Oh, did we just do that on camera? Yes, you did. She obviously loves it when he does that. Daniel, get a room. No, they're just in the middle of the road. Well, at least it's not on the back of the kudu. Now they pretend they don't know each other. Well, it's always exciting to get up close and personal in the lives of our birds. And I mean, I have seen oxpeckers mating before once on the back of an animal, but never as elaborate as we saw there on the ground. But there's no more elaborate display, I'd say, than mating leopards.
Oh my word, we found him! How exciting is this? Sorry, I'm very excited. That definitely looks like tortoise pan and a female. Don't want to force them off the road, so I'm just going to keep our distance and then we'll stop and have a look at them with the camera. They're looking quite hungry, or she certainly is looking hungry. Oh, shame. She looks like she's got a bit of an injury on her right, kind of her hip, or just below her hip on her kind of upper thigh. Actually, on both sides. I'm just having a look at those. Those wounds do, I mean, they look nasty, but I think they're more superficial than anything else. They don't look particularly deep. They've kind of broken the skin. But it doesn't look like they're very deep. She looks super thin though, the poor girl, shame. Yeah, Jilly, I think it does look mostly like a flesh wound, and just the way she's walking makes me feel happier about them because she's not limping. Oh, they might mate. Let me just see if I can get us closer. They are probably going to mate here. She's flirting with him, so flirting big time. There we go. He's snarling at her. He's not happy. Come on, boy, don't be nasty to her. Go, finally. Look how she rolls over now. Typical cat behavior. They say that increases the chances of the sperm actually fertilizing an egg when they kind of roll onto their back. She hasn't done it completely. She's half rolled over. Sometimes they go all the way over onto their back.
Well, how very special indeed. TP and Sibuye on Djuma. Now, Max, you seemed particularly excited about that sighting.
I did. As a guide, it's always exciting to find your own leopards and not go to an established sighting. But for me, it was very emotional. TP's a leopard I've been wanting to see for a very, very long time. And the reason is he comes from a lineage that is very close to my heart. So he's the son of the Zanzeni female, who in turn is the daughter of the Dudley Riverbank female. And she was the daughter of a leopard called Manana, or 3-4 female. She was also known as 3-4 female, and she's like my spirit animal, like my leopard mother. She taught me so much in my time down when I was working at Londolozi. I followed her for 10 years, and I feel like she just taught me about life. She was very, very special to me. I'm almost getting emotional talking about her, but yeah, she was a love. She reminded me of Karula in her personality, just so accommodating, just so relaxed, successful mum, raised lots of cubs that I was able to bear witness to, and just a very, very special.
And so now Tortoise Pan comes from that lineage.
Yes.
But now he's mating with Sibuyi. I didn't see it very easily from the footage, but she had some injuries on the back of her legs, her hips.
Yes, on both sides. The injuries didn't look too serious, but they were quite big chunks of skin missing. And, you know, I know that male leopards do sometimes bite the backs of a female when they're mating. That, to me, didn't look like an injury caused by tortoise pan. It didn't look like a typical mating injury. I think she maybe had a narrow escape, either with another leopard, maybe a lion, but it looked like something that gripped her from behind.
But she seemed very far out of her normal territory. I mean, is this something you've encountered before?
It's not common, but I have seen it before. You know, a male leopard has a number of females in his territory, and if he's not in the territory of a particular female when she comes into estrus, she's got a very narrow window where she needs to mate, so she's going to go looking for him. But it's very uncomfortable for her to be so far and in the territory of another female who's going to be aggressive towards her and protective of her own territory.
On the update last night, it seems that she's taken him back over towards the south of our property, towards an area called Hoffman's, and maybe more back towards where she's more familiar.
That makes sense, although when we saw her, Tortoise Pan was definitely doing the leading and she was following, but perhaps she feels now like she needs to make her way back to where she feels comfortable, where she feels safe.
For sure. You don't want to be too far away from your comfort zone. Well, we've caught up with special characters, special leopards, hyenas. We looked at the dynamics between warthog and a leopard. The spring rains have arrived, and with it they've washed away the old and are bringing forth the new. All of our migrant species are back. The insects are in full flight, and the flowers and trees are budding with new life. And as we witness the coming weeks, we're very excited with the coming of summer and with what the fruits will be bringing with that. Now, Max, what are you looking forward to in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks?
Oh gosh, there's so much. I feel so privileged to be here. I'd love to see some of the migratory eagles. Looking forward to finding them. I'd love to catch up with Corky and Ribbon. So really hoping to do that, but otherwise whatever the bush brings.
Okay, well, as we prepare for another bumper week, we'll catch you next week on Safari.
Utajiwa iwe natingala.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody.